Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. I want to thank, first of all, La Plaza Tapatía for hosting us today, and thank you for the amazing coffee and bread that they had for us. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. My name is Claudia de Leon, and I am the president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Columbus. And I am very happy to partake in this event with you guys today. The Women's Commission reached out to the Chamber of Commerce, and we thought it was a very important opportunity for us to showcase the importance of today's date to our members and also to get some additional signers on board. So not only Latino businesses like La Plaza Tapatía, but also general businesses that hire a lot of our Latina women because this is so important. I do want to mention the importance of November 1st in Spanish for those of you that may need it. El 1 de noviembre es el día en el cual las mujeres latinas tendrían que trabajar para poder alcanzar el promedio de lo que gana un hombre anglosajón a finales del año pasado. So as all of you know, November 1st is the day when us Latina women have to work till to make what the general market American man makes last year. So I'm grateful to see all of you here today as we elevate and address this important issue in our community. I'm very excited to be a part of the solution. I do think that it is the mission of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to educate our members as to the importance of equal pay, but also, and part of our mission is to get more women on different boards. There is a program that was started by the Chamber some time ago called the Latina Mentoring Academy that I know works towards that mission as well. And Lair, that is here, heads that program. She also continues to head the Education Committee so that now we can educate all of our members in all different aspects of business on why it's important to discuss these issues, but also to be aware of them. While unfortunately Mayor Ginther could not be here today, I know he has a special message, but before that, I do want to bring up Griselda, who owns La Plaza Tapatía, so that she can give some words as well. And she has asked me to translate for her.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy buenos días. Es un gusto tenerlos aquí a todos esta mañana lluviosa, por cierto. Un honor y un placer y un gusto que estén aquí compartiendo con nosotros en esta localidad que es hispana, que es para todos nosotros, para todos ustedes.
Okay, it is a great honor to have you here today on this rainy day. It is an honor for me that an event like this was chosen to be hosted at our business, which is open not just to our community, but for all of you here as well.
Como les comentaba, es un gusto tenerlos aquí y espero sigamos conviviendo más tiempo, están en su casa.
So make yourselves as home. Están en su casa means you are in my house, which is also your house. And I know that to Griselda, it is very important to learn about the issue because they actually were not aware of what it was and why there was a difference. And this is actually very common. The inequality of pay is very common in Latin America. A lot of times when somebody comes up to when you turn in your resume, you have to state your gender, if you're married or not, you have to put a photo on. So it truly is an educational piece for our Hispanic businesses, but we also feel that it is extremely important for businesses in general to take on this commitment. So now I do want to point you out to the screen, which I believe is that one, for a message from Mayor Ginther.
It's hard to believe it was 1 year ago the Columbus Women's Commission, the City of Columbus, and our community came together to launch the Columbus Commitment, Achieving Pay Equity. I'm grateful that today the Columbus Women's Commission, the Hispanic Chamber of Columbus, and the Columbus Chamber of Commerce are gathering to recognize and uplift Latina Women's Equal Pay Day and recognize that 1 year anniversary. Today is November 1st, and that date is significant. It represents the amount of time Latina women must work into the following year to earn what a white non-Hispanic male earned in the previous year. In other words, a Latino woman must work just over 10 extra months, almost an entire extra year, to earn what her white non-Hispanic male counterpart earned the year before. This great disparity in pay for Latinas and women of color is unacceptable. All women deserve not only equal pay for equal work, but to have their work, skills, and contributions valued and compensated equitably to their male peers. That is what addressing pay equity and the gender and race-based pay gap is all about. That's what the Columbus Commitment is all about. I am proud of the progress of the Columbus Women's Commission and the Commitment Initiative has made in just 1 year. The number of local organizations who have adopted the commitment has more than doubled, going from 60 to over 150 private, public, and nonprofit partners. Today, I am grateful to the many partner organizations who are committed to these values and addressing this issue in honor and recognition of Latina Women's Equal Pay Day. Thanks to all for your participation and dedication to moving the goal line from equal pay for equal work to 100% pay equity, the fuel that will make our Columbus community thrive.
So for those of you that have joined us today to commit to sign on behalf of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we truly thank you for taking on this initiative and for looking out for members in our community. And with that, I'd like to welcome Ronnie Marquez-Posen.
Thank you to Mayor Ginther for his wonderful message and his support in supporting our working Latina women here in the city of Columbus, and also for raising awareness and his support in addressing the gender and the race-based wage gap. And thank you, Claudia de Leon, for your warm welcome. And thank you, Griselda and Gustavo, for hosting us. Muchísimas gracias, Griselda y Gustavo, por tenernos. My name is Ronnie Marquez-Posey, and I'm the Operations Coordinator for the Office of Workforce Development in the state of Ohio. And I am honored to be here with you today to bring awareness to this critically and important cause. Being a commissioner in the Columbus Women's Commission, one of the main focuses that we have focused on are enriching and empowering women's lives. And in doing that, of course, we have to focus on the gender and race-based equity as a major focus. The Commission learned that for every dollar that a male earns here in Columbus, in the city of Columbus, women earned approximately 78 cents. That is low. That is very low, but that's even lower than the national average of 80 cents on the dollar. So today is November 1st, and today is Latina Equal Pay Day. Latina women earn 53 cents less than their their white non-Hispanic male counterparts. And as Mayor Ginther has said, he shared, this is significant because it represents the amount of time a Latina woman has to work into the following year to be able to make the money that a white non-Hispanic male earns the year before. That's major. Due to this gap, Latina women stand to lose on average. I am a Latina woman, stand to lose on average $1 million in the course of a 40-year career. That is huge. More than half of the Latina women are the main breadwinners of their household. And so with lower earnings, that means less money for their families. And so being a main breadwinner, you have to pay for groceries, you have to pay rent, you have to pay mortgage, you have to pay tuition, you have to take care of your kids, you have to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And so it's not easy. And then on top of that, you also have to consider that you have to also take care of yourself. As a woman, don't we always tend to leave ourselves at the end? So these inequities are unacceptable. And as a community, we need to ensure that women, specifically and especially today, Latina women and women of color's work doesn't go unnoticed. And we are recognized and valued and compensated equitably, and just as importantly, afforded equal opportunities to be able to grow in leadership opportunities in our businesses. And in doing this, of course, it corresponds with better pay and better benefits, and everybody wins. So that's why I'm so proud of the work that the Columbus Women's Commission and the city is doing to be able to address this gender and race-based wage gap. I don't know why I get that as a tongue twister, but I do. As the mayor mentioned, a year ago, the Columbus Women's Commission officially launched the Columbus Commitment, Achieving Pay Equity. So much has been accomplished in this year, and we still have so much to look forward to. So we will now hear from a business that's signing the Columbus Commitment, and he's going to go ahead and share about why this work is so important to them. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Michael Reese with Ice Miller. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you to the Columbus Women's Commission and to Mayor Ginther, especially to First Lady Shannon Ginther, Chair of the Columbus Women's Commission, for leading the charge towards achieving pay equity in our community. I am Michael Reese, Director of Public Advocacy and Business Development with the law firm of Ice Miller. Thank you for having me today. Ice Miller is a proud member of the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, a co-host of today's event. I serve as a member of the Chamber's Government Affairs Steering Committee as an advisor in their public policy efforts. A primary policy platform of the Chamber is to strengthen the region's competitive advantage by advocating for policies to attract and retain a diverse and inclusive workforce. Pay equity is a key part of this mission. The Columbus Chamber was an early adopter of the Equal Pay Commitment and continues to recruit and encourage member businesses to follow their lead, such as Ice Miller, Lifestyle Communities, and Tenfold here with us this morning. Ice Miller is pleased to sign the Columbus Commitment today. We are signing this pledge because we are and have been dedicated to building a more inclusive workplace that is representative of the communities we serve, and pay equity is a critical part of meeting that goal. We want to be part of the solution and are committed to sharing our best practices with other organizations to help bridge the gap and make a meaningful contribution to long-term workforce improvements. Our firm has undertaken an initial step to addressing the pay equity gap by no longer asking candidates for employment about their prior salaries. These questions are illegal to ask in some states, but even without legislation here in Ohio, we are committed to eliminating any pay disparity, and using prior salary information potentially perpetuates those gaps. We also recognize that pay disparity is a result of more than just wages. And as a firm, we are focused on women being fully represented at all levels of the organization and creating a workplace that works for women. In 2019, half of our managing partners are women, and we've set aspirational representation goals for women in such areas as pipeline, retention, and advancement. We've already seen progress based on those goals, with women making up 47% of our 2018 partner promotions and 49% of the attorneys joining the firm this year. In addition, this past year we enhanced our parental leave, child care, and elder care benefits to ensure we meet the needs of working families. There are many reasons for businesses like ours to implement strong workplace policies that support their employees and promote equality. Diverse perspectives can improve profit, expand the customer base, lead to better problem solving, improve trust, and foster greater collaboration and mentorship, just to name a few. Recognizing that we need to improve the number of women in public office and in leadership positions, the Chamber recently hosted a conversation on this topic at their annual Government Day. Additionally, the Chamber will soon release a new episode of their C-Buzz podcast highlighting the work of the Women's Commission, featuring First Lady Shannon Ginther and Chamber member Cover My Meds. a fellow leader in the corporate community working to alleviate wage disparities. So to conclude, again, Ice Miller is thrilled to sign the pledge today, and I call on members of the business community to join us in meeting the goal of 175 signers by the end of this year. And I'm pleased to turn this over to Shannon Ginther.
Thanks, Mike, for your introduction and for all the work Ice Miller is doing and your partnership with the Chamber. It's very important as we continue on this journey of pay equity and ultimately gender equity. So we've heard a lot already about why this day matters, why gender and race-based pay equity matters, and why organizations in our community are focused. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what we are going to do from here forward. In terms of not just getting folks to sign, but actually moving the needle. So as the mayor mentioned, several other people have mentioned, it's been a year today since we launched the Columbus Commitment. And I have to tell you, when we started this, and I'll look over here at Barb Smoot and at Shelley, when we started this, we had hoped to have maybe 30 to 50 folks sign on with us. And the response from this community has been overwhelming in terms of the number of people and companies that want to sign, want to learn, want to do this better and get it right for women and families in our community. So we should really be proud and be celebrating that continued success. I actually just heard Sarah Pariser from the Women's Fund just told me that we're actually at 172. We had another company sign last night, so we are getting dangerously close to the 175 number. So the commitment, as you know, is a voluntary employer-led pledge to close the gender and race-based wage gap. It asks organizations to do three things: commit to understand the issue, analyze their data, and start to implement best practices in their companies, and then share those best practices with others in the community to help us all in the journey. So as I mentioned, we had 60 organizations when we started a year ago. We're now at 172. And those organizations, I think it's important to highlight, are private, public, nonprofit, small, large, auto mechanic shops, to Nationwide Insurance, to Ohio Health. It really kind of spans who we are as a community. So it's really not just focused, either in the large business or small or medium. We have a good collection of folks who want to learn and continue to move this issue forward. So in addition to growing the number of adopters for the commitment, we want to start in the next year to focus on continuing to offer targeted best practices training and education for our adopters and those who are interested in adopting. So I'll talk about a couple of those things we've done and then what we'll continue to do over the course of the next year. So in the spring of this year, commitment adopters were invited to the Columbus Commitment Signature to Action Best Practices Conference, where over 200 attendees came together, and you saw a little bit of the footage in the mayor's video. They came together and learned from peers and experts about best practices and topics such as gender and race-based pay analysis. So how do you understand if you have a problem? How do you address issues of implicit bias in your company? And to talk more about how you elevate women into roles of leadership, kind of from being the worker bees to in the boardroom and making the decisions that impact companies and communities as a whole. In addition, this fall, commitment adopters received invitations to intimate lunch and learns, which was fulfilling on the commitment's promise to deliver resources and share best practices in smaller groups amongst kind of like organizations. So professional services firms, for example, they have a lot of issues that they're struggling with that are the same. And so really getting together and learn and share amongst those groups. And these learnings will continue into this next year. And we know that our adopter organizations are doing great work and taking concrete actions to address the gender and race-based pay gap. Mike just told you about one that Ice Miller is doing. Similarly, the city of Columbus removed salary history from the hiring process last year, and took the bold step to require implicit bias training for all of its employees throughout the city. So we look forward to sharing these and more best practices with all of the adopters and others in the community that are looking to make a difference. We're also thinking more about how we're going to measure our progress. So as the mayor says, if you're not measuring it, you don't mean it. And so we will continue to grow the initiative and add adopters, but we'll add some accountability measures because those will help us understand if the anecdotal stories that we're hearing are actually helping us to move the needle in Central Ohio as it relates to wage and gender equity. And we know that closing the gender and race-based wage gap is complex. There's not one solution. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach for any company. It's an individual company journey, and it's multifaceted. So today, I'm grateful to be here with so many partner organizations committed to these values and addressing the issue. So it's now my privilege to introduce the 18 entities who are ready to sign the Columbus Commitment in honor of Latina Equal Pay Day. So what I'll do is I'll read all of the company names, and then we'll go ahead and sign together. So AWH, Baker Creative, the Columbus Humane Society, Connect Real Estate, Empower Bus, Future Ready, the Homeless Families Foundation, Ice Miller, La Plaza Tapatia, LC, Mission Possible Consulting, the Ohio Environmental Council, Quintero Tax, Tenfold, Tortilla Street Food, TSJ Media, and Zed Digital.
And I think we have one more in the room.
And we have one more in the room.
Mexican market.
The Mexican market, what was? La Pichucana, Mexican. La? Pichu? M. Michoacana. Got it. La Michoacana. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. And we also have the Latina Mentoring Academy as well.
And the Latina Mentoring Academy. So.
And the Columbus Hispanic Chamber was listed. We're also signing.
And the Columbus Hispanic Chamber. So. And the Santiago Supermarket. So I think we're officially at 175, maybe even 176. This is fantastic. We hit our goal after all. So if you can join me in signing the Columbus Commitment. So, and thanks for joining and continuing to partner in the work. It's a journey, and we recognize that it takes all of our attention on the issue to solve the problem. And with that, I would like to introduce Barb Smoot, who's our Pay Equity Committee Chair. We would not be where we are today without her. So thank you for your work, and I'll invite you to the podium.
Thank you so much. Can anyone say 200? Not that we're goal-oriented. First, many thanks and appreciation to you as adopters. As leaders of your organizations, it begins and ends with you. We understand that today you have taken a significant step to moving your organizations closer to pay equity. And please note that the Columbus Women's Commission in the City of Columbus will be here with you every step of the way. We would like to thank especially our host today, La Plaza Tapatia. Thank you for welcoming us into your home. Many thanks to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and also the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. It is wonderful that the City of Columbus has a Hispanic chamber. Not all communities do. And ours is one of the best of the nation. Many thanks to your leadership. First Lady Ginther has been fearless in leading this commission. This work is not easy. She has a full-time day job, she has a family, and yet she has made it a priority to address the critical needs of women and families in our community. Our mayor, Mayor Andrew Ginther, has been amazing and backing each and every word that he has ever said on behalf of women and families in this community with equal acts of significance. Today, as you just finished signing the Columbus Commitment, we encourage you to take the next step from signature to action. We thank you today for joining us as audience attendees. Each and every one of you can be ambassadors for this work. If you would like to get more involved, we encourage you to contact Shelley Biting. Shelley, please raise your hand. And with this, I'd like to close out with just one additional word of thanks to all who are present today, and then one final number, 200. Thank you.